And we're live. What's happening, guys? Sunday night, couple minutes late. How's everybody doing tonight? I have nothing really important or interesting to talk about, but let's wing it anyway. Oh, we got a bunch of people in here. Scoop, what's happening, man? Excuse me. Jim, Mopar Sleeper, Agent Orange, Fun with Cars, what's happening, man? Bobby Z, Mexican Spec, Joe Camachi. Yeah, we got a bunch of people, some new names here. So what's going on? Let's see what is going on. I was just watching the medals. I'll give you guys the medals report. Hang on, because now I'm curious because I think Japan just opened. Yes. Go Japan. So the medals report for Sunday, January 11th at 7:06 Central Time is what do we got here? Wow. Gold is at 45.8347. That's up $91 at 2.03%. I believe that's a new all-time high. Gold. And silver is currently at 83.80, up $4.24. Yeah, wow. Up $4.24 at that's 5.34%. Hey guys, remember me telling you to buy this stuff when it was $17? It's not too late. Go get some now. All right. Happy Sunday, everybody. Let's see. Andrew Justice, Oscar Gonzalez, Harry Lister, Mark Sauvé, Rope. How's Kathy feeling? She's having a rough couple of days. Yeah, that's the thing with MS. It's up and it's down. It's up and it's down. If you go back like 2 weeks ago, she was literally walking on her tippy toes. You know, like exercising and pushing the limits and stuff like that. And the last couple of days, she's having a not so hot, but that's the nature of multiple sclerosis. Bobby Z is saying, I guess copper is way up. Keep an eye on your radiators. I don't know where copper's at. I've been buying stuff, but I have no idea where it's at right now. Jimmy Madison, what's happening? $1 Breton has snow for sale. I don't know, is snow up or down these days? Zero is in the house. Zero says, we love you, Kathy. Zero says he loves you. Fubar, we got Fubar in the house? Yes. Let's see. See by the garage. Hey, UT, it's so funny watching you push non-Mopar vehicles in your Facebook Marketplace videos. So here's the thing about this, right? I am a true hardcore Mopar guy, but I don't recommend Mopars for everybody. They're not for everybody. Like if you're already in it, okay, you're in it. If you really love them, then yeah, okay. Yeah, but I don't recommend them for just anybody. I've owned everything. I've worked on everything. So, well, I'm going to say everything. I've worked on just about every common car that you're going to come across. So I know these things. I know the world of cars very well. There's no reason for me to just stick with Mopars. I'm not trying to push Mopars. I'm not a Mopar channel. I'm a hot rod channel. It just happens to be centered around Mopars. And I'm not even really a hot rod channel anymore either, because you know what? The times are changing, right? The world is changing. Things are a lot different now than they were 8 years ago when we started. This is our 8th year. This is our 8th year doing this shit. And life, the world is quite different than it was when we started this channel. So you see, we've been expanding a little bit into other topics, a little bit broader, and those are the videos actually get a lot of views. It's like when I do hot rod stuff, it's like, okay, the 20,000 views, 22,000 views. When I do things that are a bigger picture, I get 500,000 views, 600,000 views. So by doing the hot rod stuff, by doing like the traditional Mopar and muscle car and hot rod stuff, I'm costing myself a lot of money, but that's the foundation of the channel. So I stick with it. And I always will stick with it. Overbuilt automotive. It's happening. I need to do videos ASAP, maybe this spring. Don't put it off till spring. Why are you putting it off till spring? Like right now, click off of this and go make a video. You never put things off. Never put things off. Mexican spec. Tony, when was the last time you had no mustache? Probably I had a face fire when I was at when I was doing my last shop. So that would have been when would that have been? Like 2 years before, a year before we started doing this. So that was probably the last time I didn't have a mustache, but it grew back, as did most of the skin and stuff. Let's see. Buddy Carfano, did you ever drive a turbine car? No, but I'd like to. I'd like to, if the opportunity ever pops up. Let's see. I'm late. And to finish, a Richie from Boston new video. Richie from Boston. Wasn't he a Jeep guy that started doing like conspiracy stuff? Am I thinking of the same guy? Because his material had crossed my path a few years ago, and I thought it was pretty neat, but I haven't really heard or seen anything from him since. Let's see. Tuxedo, Tennessee tuxedo, cool carnet in a thumbnail picture. So that picture was taken in 1983, and I was 20 years old. And the guy with me is Paul Antonis, who pops up on here occasionally. And that car was, so I had a customer named Mr. Lynch, right? And Mr. Lynch, he was an old, he was like in his 70s. This is back then, right? And he had a 383 Coronet, 383 4-barrel Coronet, 323 gears. It was a really factory car, not not a hot rod, but it was all original. But it was rusty and it was rough. And he bought that convertible. He wanted to have a green 67 Coronet, but he needed a convertible. So he went and he bought that convertible. And he had Paul and I pull the 383 out of his Coronet and put it in that car. And that picture was taken like on our we put it all together and we took it out, for obviously got to road test it, right? So that's when that picture was taken, right after, like a couple hours after we did the engine swap on that car. Joker, Tony, is the reason for silver rising due to the AI boom and use in solar panels? No, not even a little bit. Don't believe a word of that. Anybody who tells you that, either they're misdirecting you, or they don't know what they're talking about, or they're only half informed. This is a debasement trade. This is other countries around the world saying, here, take these dollars back. We don't want your dollars anymore. And so what they're doing is they're converting their dollars from metal, and they're taking the metal out of the COMEX, and they're taking it out of the LBMA. No, this is a debasement trade. Has nothing to do with solar panels, has nothing to do with industry, has nothing to do with any of that stuff. That's all nonsense. How do I know this? Because I've been predicting this exact move for about 25 years now. My timing hasn't been very good, but I understood all of the factors that were lining up 25 years ago when I first got into this stuff, and now it's actually all coming to pass. And 25 years ago, AI wasn't even a word. You know what I mean? None of this stuff was even on the. So it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Eric Swenson, thank you, Eric Swenson, for the super chat. Tony, having carb issues with my Edelbach 1406. Run super rich. Started when running the one mixture screw in and backing it out 2 turns. Low vacuum after this. Hope it didn't mess up where the mixer screw bottoms out. No, you didn't. Don't worry about that. Started running Run super rich started when running the one mixture screw in and backing up 2 turns. 2 turns is a lot. It should be a turn and a quarter. Low vacuum after this. And you got both screws. You turn them all the way in and then turn them back out like 1 1/4 turns, 1 1/2 turns, and still running super rich. Do you see any fuel dripping down in the boosters while the engine is running? Let me know. I'll watch for your response. Joker, agree on the dollar shrinking, but I didn't know if the solar panel AI was partly responsible. That's nonsense. The powers that be, the banking system, the Federal Reserve, all of the central banks of the world can't let you know what's really going on, obviously. But in the meantime, they're buying the stuff up themselves. If the reason for the price going up was industry and stuff like that, why would the central banks, all the central banks, be buying and stockpiling gold and silver? And they've been doing it for years now. No, this has to do with the trillions of dollars, the quadrillions of dollars worth of derivatives, all floating around the world, like just massive amounts of this stuff. And one country after another saying, nope, I'm out. Don't play in your game. I want a commodity-based currency. Here's your dollars. Give me silver. Here's your dollars. Give me gold. Here's your dollars. Give me platinum. That's what this is. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because they're either lying to you or they don't understand the bigger picture. I see Fubar stepped in. I don't know if I greeted Fubar or not, but Fubar. Patrick KC9 Chow. How about solid state batteries? How about solid state batteries? The EV industry is dead. It's over. Okay, people don't want them. The people who bought them are now trying to get rid of them. Not everybody. There are some people who are born to have electric cars, and they fill a good role, in their lives. But people have been rejecting electric cars all around the world. Well, maybe not China, but people have been rejecting cars in the U.S. and in Europe. They don't want them. And the people who have bought them realize that, no, these things are an expensive pain in the ass, and I don't need it. I don't want to spend $1,600 every 6 months when I need tires on this friggin' thing, right? So it's like the whole EV thing is over. So the solid state battery thing for an expanding EV industry ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. Okay. Let me run back here and see. Okay, Eric Swenson. No dripping. I had one side 1 3/4 out. I ran the other side in and backed it out to make sure it was even, and it never corrected idle after I backed out. Oh man. So you ran so it was relatively okay. Then you ran them in, and then you pull them back out. And once you did that, it wasn't right anymore. That's what you're saying. Whew, I don't know. Unless you grilled the screws into the body, I couldn't see you. I couldn't see that making a difference. How was it running before you did any of the adjustments? Why did you do the adjustments? I'll watch for your answer. Okay. Yes, idle screws aren't high where it shouldn't be running on idle circuit. Well, how many turns out do you have it? So okay. All right, Eric. Let's go back. So on the throttle stop screw, the one on the side, right? If you close it, if you take the screw all the way out and then turn it back in so you get just one full turn, right? Because all you should have is one and a half full turns. And then you have one and a half full turns on each of the idle mixture screws. So just use that as your guide. If you go 1.5 turns on both the throttle stop screw and the idle mixture screws, what happens? How does it run? Thunderstruck is saying maybe your step-up springs are too hard, the vacuum fell and causes it to run rich, not through the idle circuit. I'm scrolling back up. User JX1, I can't, I might be able to try that. Love your format, keep it up, hot rodding is where my interest is. I have a lot of interests, but they basically revolve around cars, but yes, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the channel. Broke Joker ATV, not bad, just disappointed that the days of $1,000 project cars are gone. Nonsense. There's $1,000 project cars everywhere. You're not going to find $1,000 six-pack Challenger. You're not going to find $1,000 Superbird, okay, or a ZL1 Camaro, an original ZL1 Camaro. No, those cars you're not going to find. But there's $1,000 project cars everywhere, everywhere. So no, how can you say that? I'm scrolling back up just to see if I can find anything on that carburetor. I'm not seeing it. Eric, I'm watching for you. Oh, there it is. There you are. Eric, it runs rough. It breaks up like it's dumping fuel. It will backfire violently out the exhaust. All ignition components are new too. Okay, carburetor isn't going to give you backfiring out the exhaust. What ignition system do you have on this thing? This is a lot easier if we're just standing there looking at the car. Okay, the breaking up, no. Backfiring violently out the exhaust is a sign of an ignition problem. And you say all new ignition components. Is it, what ignition is it? Oh, it's a Spark 2? Spark 2, and it's backfiring violently out the exhaust. How did it run before you gave it a tune-up? Moperman 1870 saying marketplace in my areas. Southern Missouri is riddled with low-priced vintage project cars and trucks and stuff in between. Yes. Everywhere. Bobby Z, I'm working on a $1,300 project right now. Not a car. The 89 Dodge D100. Classic muscle cars ain't cheap though. There's a lot of really cheap trucks out there. A lot of really cheap trucks out there. And that is the way to go. That's just the way to go these days. I know I'm partial to cars. Most of you guys are partial to cars too. But for an affordable, cheap project, I see tons of V8 pickups, 90s pickups, early 2000s, $500, $700. Yeah, no shortage of options. And I tell you, every time I run into somebody, like if I'm pumping gas and somebody will say, "Hey, I watch your channel," I'll always ask them, so what do you have? And almost always it's a pickup truck. Almost always it's a truck. Flinton. Just joining in. Good evening, Tony. Hope you're doing good, my friend. I'm doing great, my brother. Thank you. Zero is saying addition points are electronic. Points go. Zero. It's a Ford, but it's electronic. It's a Dora Spark. Let's see. What's on the UT? Aside from making packaging easier, is there any advantage to a 60-degree V engine versus 90-degree? 60-degree V. No, on a 90-degree on a V8, 90 degrees works out. On a V6, 60 degrees works out. As far as like optimum primary balance. I can't think of any examples of 60-degree V8s other than like the old Ford Flatheads. Almost all V8s are 90 degree, and most V6s are 60. So that's the natural the natural balance is better 60 degree for a V6. Let's see. Mexican spec is saying the pickup and the distributor can also be a problem. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Eric Swenson, timing is at 12 degrees. Total timing is 32. Okay. Had 19 inches of vacuum at idle before this running problem happened. Did the problem happen right after you did the tune-up? Like, how did it run before you did the ignition and all of that? Zero. Boss. So, distributor adjustment plus checking on mounting, etc. If you touch it, it's always been your fault. I don't know. There is no there's no adjustment on a Dora Spark. It's just a magnetic pickup. Like I don't think you can set the air gap on that like you can on a Chrysler. On a Chrysler, you go for between 7,000 and 8,000 air gap on the pickup, but I don't think there is an adjustment on that Dora Spark. I could be wrong. But yeah, you know what? If it is adjustable and the adjustment is too far, an occasional missed spark, but because of the extra gap, could cause the engine to cycle a couple of times, a couple of revolutions with no spark, and then the spark comes on and bang. So it's possible. Scrolling back up to see if he said anything else. Lego Master 4016. What can you tell me about a small block Chevy dieseling when shut off? Timing issues too rich. Usually idle. So hot spots on the combustion chamber. Idle turned up too high. And not necessarily idle speed, but throttle opening idle. So if it's running, if it's not running correctly, and you've got the throttle blades turned way open to get it to idle, that'll cause it to diesel also. Timing, if the timing is too far retarded, what'll happen is you can get a hot spot in the combustion chamber. The ground strap on the spark plug can become a glow plug. It starts to glow like a dull red. Now when you shut the thing off, that's a good enough source of ignition to keep the engine going. A lot of different things. Okay, Eric. It was lean breaking up on cruise. Okay, I replaced coil with standard motor Blue Streak coil. Old coil had oil coming out where the ignition coil wire connects. Oh, check your wire. Check the coil wire. Okay, so the oil coming out of the old coil is showing that it was overheating. And one of the things that will cause a coil to overheat is constantly having to jump a spark inside the wire. Okay, so what happens, fairly common, is the coil wire isn't plugged completely into the boot on the spark plug on the coil, or even on a distributor cap. Doesn't make any difference as long as it actually has to jump a gap. What will happen is if the metal contact on the wire isn't in firm contact with the metal contact on the coil or in the cap, what will happen is the spark has to jump a gap, and as the spark jumps that gap, it causes a lot of heat, not only in the coil, but also inside the wire. And what will happen is the inside of the wire will start to burn back. Okay, you look at the wire, you say, oh, the wire is perfect, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, but if you were to cut that wire right at the contact, you would see that it's burned out on the inside. Check that out. Check that out. That'll give you all those symptoms. Flipment, Tony, I know you're an XJ/6 guy. Have you checked out Nivlak 57 here? Yes, I have. He does a lot of videos on the Atlas 4.2 inline six engines from the old Trailblazers. Yes, I've seen. I haven't seen any of his stuff recently, but yes, I've seen a lot of his videos. He does really good work. Makes really good videos. Overbuilt automotive. Tony, we had a hole burnt in a Ford 50 EFI rotary button, dead center. Truck went nuts. Then would only pop. Had aftermarket, very high coil. We had to buy a rotary button and fill it with epoxy house. Yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff like that happens. And Mexican Spec is saying that Nivlak will be at the No Name Nationals this year. Nivlak is actually from what I remember, that's his name backwards. His name is actually Calvin, and it's Nivlak for the. Let's see, I'm scrolling back up here. Okay. What was saying? A lot of people named Bob spelled their names backwards. I wasn't aware of that. Hey, we got to do a metals checkup here. Sorry, guys. This is very interesting times. Yep. No real change. 45.83 on gold. 83.67 on silver. John Cram, I always give a like, and that's why you'll have nothing but good luck, health, and prosperity all through the rest of your life, because you're that kind of guy. Thank you so much for the like. If anybody else wants to follow his lead, a like is always a good thing. Helps the channel a lot. Eric, should I try changing out the ignition coil wire to rule it out? Yes. Prior to this, mixture screws replaced the ignition module because it would start breaking up only when warm. That's another symptom for you, man. Another symptom. Check the coil wire. Hey, Olaf, what's going on? Broke Joker, what's your thoughts on a Magnum V10? Ever thought about working on one? The sound, man. I can't get past the sound. Oh, it's just horrible. No, I never really thought about it. I've had a couple of them cross my paths where it's like, oh, hey, it's got a rod knock, you can have it for $100, that sort of thing. And I yeah, I'll stick with what I've got. Fifth Avenger. This is my most favorite automotive channel. Thank you so much. Uh, I also like every live show on Sundays and Wednesdays. Well, thank you, Fifth Avenue, Fifth Avenger. I appreciate that. Uh, Shannon sending him out what's copper at? Maybe time to cash on a solid backing piece I use for welding. Give copper 6 months to a year before you even think about it. Hold on to all of the copper you can get your hands on. Harry Blister, Bitcoin is stuck in a range 89,500 to 91.5. It's going to break in one direction or the other. I bet down. Yeah, I bet you it's going to break down. I was just looking at the charts on that the other day. Yeah, it's going to break to the downside. I'm seeing like 60, 65,000, honestly, as a bottom. And then I see it off to the races because the same things, the same motivation right now that's having people, institutions, whole countries pile into metals, they're also going to pile into Bitcoin. But the Bitcoin thing, I think, is going to be a flash in the pan. I think you're going to see just pulling numbers out of my ass, okay? But representative. I think from where you are right now, I think you're going to see a break down to the 60, 65 range, and then I think you're going to see 175 to 200,000. At that point, I think it stalls, and I see an event. I see something to stop it. I don't know what it is. But honestly, the global powers that be really don't have any interest in Bitcoin running very much further than that. And that's not to say all cryptos are going to follow that same, but Bitcoin leads the crypto market. Mike, and no, this is not financial advice. Oscar Gonzalez, what welder I recommend for car restoration and general hobby metal art? Go to Harbor Freight and go buy either one of their cheap flux core welders. They got the black one and the green one, the titanium. Either one will do every single thing. Not aluminum, okay? If you're going to weld aluminum, you're not going to do that. Use that. But as far as any metal welding you do, 100%. We built a couple of completely built cars we're using those flux core welders. I'm a flux core believer. So it's like the best $150 you're ever going to spend. Sell more. Yeah. So there's a channel I've been watching lately for their live streams, like in the morning. Guy's known as International Stacker, and he keeps running that clip over and over again. Let's see. Thunderbird, I taught myself to weld with a flux core. I learned on oxyacetylene. I've TIGged, I've MIGged, I've done all of that stuff. I do my best welding oxyacetylene because I did it for so many years. And then, well, I mean, obviously, I'm an okay MIG welder. I'm an okay TIG welder, but I've gotten pretty proficient with the flux core. It's hit and miss. My results are hit and miss. It just depends what kind of mood I'm in. You know what I mean? Am I welding this thing because it's like, okay, I got to get this done? They're not that pretty. Am I welding this thing because it's like, oh, I want to do a nice job? I can actually lay down a nice bead with the flux core. I've learned to love spatter too. You know, people are like, oh, spatter. Oh, that's no, it just shows you were there. Tony B, what do you think the stock market in general is going to do in 2026, up or down? That's a hard one. That's a hard one. I'm not in equities at all. I haven't been in equities in decades, right? That's a hard one. I'm going to say I don't know. I have a hunch there's going to be a dip, and then I think you're going to see what's called a crack up boom. So here's the thing, right? If the equity markets were still valued, measured, traded as they were 50 years ago, okay? Oh, what a massive crash, but a massive, crazy crash, okay? But they're not. They're not. The markets have absolutely no bearing at all on the real economy. They have no bearing at all on numbers, which those numbers have no bearing at all on reality. And all of the trading is done through algorithms and AI, okay? So because of that, you can't predict where the market's going to go. It's impossible. But I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. I stay out of it. I have nothing to do with equities. Tracy, is that a picture of you in the thumbnail? Yes. I was 20 years old when that picture was taken. That was me and my buddy Paul Antonis, and we had just stuck a 383 in that coronet. We had just finished the engine swap like an hour or two before that. We were just cruising. It was a customer's car, and we were just romping around with it. You know, to break it in, right? You got to break it in, and you know, we took that picture, or somebody took that picture. I don't remember who took that picture. That was a long time ago, man. I guess I was 20 years old, so that was like 1982 or 1983. Hey, Dean Stevenson, what's happening, man? Scroll back up. Mark Nunya, FluxCore built my first go-kart and fixed the torque box on my 70 Mustang. What else does a guy need? Nothing. Nothing. You're done. Chris, YYZ81, just picked up a 63 Chevy 2 Nova 5.7 barrel V8 4 1/4. Oh, nice. Redoing all the wiring because they were all spliced and in different colors. I fell and broke my arm, so now I watch your videos. You can't do the wiring with one arm or your feet. You know, I see these people that don't have arms and they do all kinds of crazy shit with their feet. Don't watch these videos. Go wire your car, man. And then Fubar just put bullying on my merch. Thank you, Fubar. So if you want shirts or hats or anything else we have in the store, and I don't even know what's there, right? But it's there. Right? You go follow that link and help support, you know, this thing I got going on here. Thank you in advance, and thank you, Fubar. Broke Joker, have you ever done circle track racing? I never understood circle track racing. I don't get it, because it's like, okay, you're gonna race, right? How do you go back around to the same place you started? That doesn't make any sense. And then don't they get dizzy? I would think after you go around in circles all the time, you get very dizzy. And I don't understand circle track racing. But the one thing that always turned me off about circle track racing, and like or any type of racing that isn't drag racing, I like drag racing because fundamentally drag racing is about the car. It's about the mechanics of it. You know what I'm saying? With drag racing, you can't have any mistakes. There can't be anything that's off. There can't be anything that's weak. There's a mistake even for a thousandth of a second counts. Okay, I like that. I like that. I like that challenge. Circle track racing. Yeah, I mean, you could go halfway through the race and then like spin out and all this other stuff and then catch up, and I don't like that. I don't like that. There's too much driver to me. There's too much driver involved in circle track racing. I want to go out there and see machines race. I want to see the skills of the mechanics and the designers and the engineers, and I want to see this technology at work. You stick a driver in there, and now it's like, oh, you've got all of these different elements. Is he having a good day? Is he having a bad day? You know what I'm saying? No. In my mind, motorsports should be without drivers. Just send the machine, and let the better machine win. Let the better mechanic win. So yeah, for that reason, I just never got into circle track racing. Dean Stevenson said he's walking home. Can you track me on Google? I might be able to. Maybe somebody else could do it better because I don't even know how I would go about doing it. I'm stuck here. But somebody track Dean Stevenson on his walk home. Shadow Dog. Circle track racing isn't for us with short attention spans. If the race is won in 8 seconds, I lose interest. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just scrolling back up. Jacob Bonham, if you want to spend the money and get a painless wiring harness, I did it with my square body and it turned out nice. It was easy to put in. He's talking about the guy with the Nova who's rewiring his car. I've done painless, the painless, wiring. I'm partial to reproduction harnesses. It's going to cost you about the same. Maybe a reproduction harness might be a couple of dollars more, right? But there's going to be less wonky connections in a reproduction harness. They fit better. That's how it was intended to be. All of the connections are right. All of the plugs are right. So, in my mind, if you can get good original or good reproduction harnesses for a project, it's better than one of those painless jobs. To me, the painless wiring or any of these wiring kits are really intended for cars that have no original wiring or no original electronics in them. So you build I don't know, like a Resto mod or something like that, or a race car, right? A race car. If everything is modified front to back and there's no real place for stock harnesses to plug in, then those painless harnesses are really the only way to go. But if you're doing any type of car that's got all the originals, got the original gauge cluster, it's got original taillights, it's got original headlights, the original bulkhead connector in the firewall and all the other stuff, then yeah, by all means, try to find a good original. Better if you can find good original because you know that wiring is good, it's got good high quality, or decent reproductions. Better than the painless or Overbuilt Automotive. I felt similar about drag racing. All day, zoom, it's over. Never had much of a desire to build anything that does not go fast around a corner and stop fast too. See, and I'm the exact opposite. I never, I slow down for corners. I'll corner fast on my motorcycles. To me, motorcycles are about corners. You know what I'm saying? Like there's what's that? It's like a charm. May you wear out the sides of your tires before the center, right? So for me, motorcycles are for handling and shit like that. And cars are either for transportation or acceleration. And that's it. It's like that's my whole world is as far as it all comes down to that. Is it going to get me from point A to point B and get decent gas mileage and be easy to fix and all the other stuff? Or is it going to slam me back in the seat and make me steer a little bit while, I hit, straight line? So, yeah, different priorities. Just people, it takes all kinds of cookies to fill the bag. So, Mark Nunya, painless is perfect on my T-bucket. On my neighbor's 69 Camaro, not so much. Thank you. My point exactly. It's the ideal thing if you're doing a T-bucket. It's absolutely perfect. You're doing it on a 69 Camaro, everything is going to be half-assed. You're going to have a zillion connections in that car that are just going to be just wrong, right? or failure prone as time goes on. Mr. Omatic, what do I think about rally racing? I'm a straight liner, man. I'm a straight liner. It's like, I gotta tell you, it's just if it doesn't go in a straight line, I'm just not interested. Rally racing takes away from the car and adds to the driver. And my sensibilities are take away from the driver and give it to the car. You know what I mean? I'm a car guy. I'm not a people person. I'm not a doctor. I don't fix people. I'm a mechanic. I fix cars. So when I go to an automotive competition, I want to see what the car is going to do. And the person takes away from what the car is going to do, if that makes any sense. I know not everybody sees things that way, but that's how I've always seen it. Hemi head. I never came across such a biggest piece of crap as on my Dodge Darts, the whole lot of them from 2011 to 2016. Right? Radioactive turds. I know. They're like extinct. Yeah, occasionally you see one around here, but like they're all gone. That was really the first of the real turds, the modern Mopar turds. Overbuilt. Road racing is about chassis design a lot. Engines have to be tough and cooling. It's a mess. But if you have the best chassis, so let's just say you've got the best tires, you've got the best chassis, you've got the best engine, you've got the best tune on the thing, you've got the best of everything, but the driver is just not on today, right? That's it. Kiss it all goodbye. Then you go nowhere. And by the same token, you could show up sloppy. You could show up with a weak engine, a weak suspension, and weak tires, but you put a real hot shot driver on that thing, and you're gonna win. So see, that's why I'm not really interested in that type of sport. I'm only interested in what the car can do. Driver of Mr. said Dart was a Rush re-engineered Alfa Romeo Giulietta. I don't know the car. Joker, Tony, then how is drag racing not a human influence result? Two different people can launch the same car and get a different result, ET. I know, but it's less so than it is with other forms of racing. If you go back, seriously, you go back to like the 1960s, before the Winston money came in, right? I believe it was NHRA, and one of their slogans was, where the cars are the stars. Because that's what drag racing is. Drag racing features the car, where the cars are the stars. And it was only after the Winston money came in and the whole sport started to become perverted that they really started to feature the drivers. Before then, how many cars, if you go back to like the 60s, right? How many cars had just the car's name, right? Or the partners, Forconis, Coyle, and Minnick. It was the Chi-Town Hustler, right? Who's driving? I don't know. It don't matter. That's the team. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it was Pat Minnick driving back then, by the way. But that's what I'm saying. It's like the cars were the stars, right? Like you went to go see Jungle Jim, but Jungle Jim was running 3 cars with 3 different drivers. You know what I mean? Maybe Jungle was actually driving a car. Maybe it was one of the other guys. People went to see the Jungle Jim car. So it's like, that was the difference between then and now, where it's like we only focus on the driver. And that's silly. That's silly. Gaga Breton, could too much compression make a cold start backfire? No, I don't see how. No, I mean, I off the top of my head, I can't think of any how that would work. Destroyer 63, the Golden Crapper race is in a straight line. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. Like it's it's not totally straight. It's just a little weavy, as an improvised off-road thing would be, right? I guess you could take a dead straight line through it, but then you'd be in some really loose, weird shit on the sides. Mr. Omatic, backfiring is a timing issue. Most often, yeah, but it could also be a lean spot. Depends on where, like a lean, a backfire through the intake would be a lean spot. Yes, backfiring could also be valve sealing issues. Wheelie King. When a small engine hits before top dead center, sometimes it will spin backwards and backfire. Yeah, but that's a compression doing it. Like I think his question was if you have too much compression, can that cause a backfire? And maybe I read it wrong. Tom Hansen. Did Dr. Art sign up for the Golden Phone channels? I have not heard from either Dr. Art or Brian from Project Time Garage yet. Guys, come on. I know you're watching this shit. Jump in there. Let's see what's this. Okay. Oh, it's a message from Jeff, Dragster owner. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. I just text from Jeff. Jeff's a really good guy. He didn't intend for all this stuff to happen. He's doing his best to move things along. Let's see. This was not trench warfare advice. Dean Stevenson, I hope you're not giving out trench warfare advice. Not on this channel, man. ES10, everybody hit the thumbs up icon. Thank you, man. I love you, Tom. I really do. I love you guys. It's one of the reasons I do this stuff. really do. You're my tribe. I love my tribe. But yes, if you can hit the thumbs up on your way in or on your way out, or even the thumbs down, either way, it doesn't make any difference. The algorithm just says, oh, people are paying attention and they're reacting. So it always helps. Thank you. Um, all of you can give battle chant advice. Battle chant advice and trench warfare advice are two completely different things. Yes, give up as much battle chant advice as you choose. Um, Danny Boyd, hip check some druids. Yes. Ken Block, rest in peace. Zero, I thought Ken Block was dead, wasn't? Did that just happen? Oh, yeah, Bob Weir, you guys, I know there's a lot of deadheads out there in the world still. Yeah. There's Jeff. All good, Jeff. All good. Uh, let's see. Dada Barton, I have put a new timing chain and lined up the dots. I have a machine shop, shave a lot, and rebuild the heads, and timing is on top dead center. I can't find what makes it backfire. First time it happened to me. Okay. Times on TDC. What what engine is it? What engine is it? And what kind of rockers do you have on it? Um, oh, wait a minute. Oh, Dada, stop! Let me stop you right there. Just because it just dawned on me what you got going on here. All right, when you put it together, all right, you put dot to dot, and then you put the distributor in and you set it for number one, correct? Because if that's what you did, you're 180 out. Okay, dot to dot is top dead center of the exhaust stroke, right? It's opposite. It's 180 out. You need top dead center of the compression stroke. So what you do is you set dot to dot to set the cam, okay, to make sure the cam is right. And then you rotate the crank 360 degrees, which brings the top dot on the cam gear up to the top. So when both dots are facing up, that's when you drop the distributor in and set it for number one. So you're 180 out, bro. Uh, let's see. I'm just scrolling. So yeah, that's your problem, bro. Your the dot to dot is 180 out. Danny Boyd, I seen the dead back in '85 and '87. I know that the biggest crowd Englishtown ever had. I didn't go to this. I was looking for a deadhead. But the biggest crowd that Englishtown, the drag strip, ever had was in 1977 when they had a Grateful Dead concert there. And they had hundreds of thousands of people, the whole property. I've seen pictures of it. Like I said, I didn't go to it, but that was like a legendary event when they played in Englishtown. Uh, Scrolling. Nest car. I watched a bright red 67 Coronet RT 440 sell at Macon for 28,000. And then a low miles 90 Dodge D150 sell for 39,000. Seems like pickup trucks values are going up fast. They are. They are. Pickups are super hot right now. War Ghost. Hey Tony, what power plant would make a better candidate for a 500 horsepower 64 Caddy build? A Caddy 500 or a 6-liter LS for the dollar? What do you, 500 horsepower? You're better off with the LS. You're better off with the LS. Dr. Goldfield Hong. Hong. I'm sorry if I'm murdering your name, man. Worst car I've ever experienced. That's in what category? In what category? Because I've experienced a lot of bad cars, and in so many different categories. I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch for your answer to that. Zero saying OBD1 era trucks are probably easier to find, plus they're always useful. You can't beat them. You can't beat them. Especially people, people that are actually in the market for like a work truck today. Even if they, think about this, right? Even if you have, an extra $80,000 or $100,000, like just burning a hole in your pocket, and you're going to go to the dealer and buy a work truck, you're much better off. If a work truck is what you're looking for, is to go find an OBD1 era truck, because they're useful. They're useful. They make tons of power. They're the most practical things in the world. And they're low enough, and the beds are long enough, and they're built for work. That's what their intended purpose is. Nothing today is really usable. They sit up too high. They're too friggin' tall. The beds are too short. They're ridiculous. You need a ladder to effectively use any of these new trucks today. So even if you've got the money, if you're looking for an honest work truck, even if you got the money for brand new, you're much better off for no other reason. It's just the practicality of use of going for a 90s pickup. It's pronounced Wang. Oh, I'm sorry, my brother. And I guess I mean it's worst car I've owned. Worst car I've owned. How about one that I was kind of partners with, right? When I was a teenager, I was like 19 years old, and we each had our hot rods, right? But naturally, your hot rod only runs every once in a while. The rest of the time, it's either broken or you're building it up or whatever. So me and a few guys that used to hang out at the same place, we all had this. It was a '67. Was it '67 Chevy Impala wagon called the Mule. It was pale blue. Somebody wrote the Mule on the side of it in like white paint and everything. And this thing had no floorboards. I mean, like literally zero floorboards. They were all gone. Your feet were on the frame and the cross member, right? There was mud packed all up underneath the dashboard. As things would break, nobody bothered fixing them. And eventually, we were using that car. It had zero brakes. It had a power glide, 2-speed power glide. And it had, Kathy will tell you the story about this. Actually, I picked her up for a date. One of the first times I took her out on a date. My own car was down, and I used the Mule to pick her up. And there was no brake pedal. I mean, like literally, it's like the master cylinder might not have even been in the car, because the pedal just like swung there, right? Did nothing. And the way you would stop this car would be you would downshift it, and when you got it going slow enough to slow down, you jam it in reverse and stand on the gas. And that's how you got this thing to stop. And we drove it like this everywhere. I took her from Staten Island to Manhattan in this thing, in that condition. So that was probably the worst car I've ever owned, Dr. Wang. I'm just scrolling back up. Jacob Bauman. I do love how tall these new trucks are. You can barely reach over the side of the thing, but at the same time, they sit lower and can't climb underneath. Now my square body, I can do both just fine. Yeah, the new trucks are just ludicrous. Just ludicrous. Um, Spider injection. Oh, yeah. I remember those. Zero saying we still see a good amount of them on the road doing work, foreign especially. I watched a video that Freiberger did where he was driving around his neighborhood there in your neck of the woods, in California, and yeah, I was surprised at how many early trucks were out there. A lot more there than here. Here they're kind of coveted; they're not really used like regularly, but there it looks like there's a lot of them that are just still in regular use. Uh, Dickie Farley thinks they should bring back the mule. Oh, good man. Firefly, the most difficult fuel injection I had to work on was a 76 Cadillac 500 analog fuel injection. I don't remember that. I remember that they had that Crockett digital injection in like 78 or 79, which was a freaking nightmare. Thank you for the super chat, Dada. Thanks for the tip. Bizarre, mate. Shouldn't don't say 180 thing. Here's a little something to buy a glass bottle of Mexican Coke. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, they leave that. Sometimes they leave that stuff out, but I'm telling you, that's what it is. I'm just scrolling back up here. Danny Brady says a truck that don't sit up high enough is a waste. How so? I want the bed. If I got a pickup truck, I want the bed no high, no more than like stomach high. I got to be able to bend over. If I got a pickup truck, I want to be able to walk over to the side of it, reach in, and be able to comfortably reach the middle of the truck without standing on my tippy toes. That to me is accessible. Um, uh, Dr. Wang, have you ever messed around with any JDM cars? Do you like any of them? I'm not in that world. I have nothing against Japanese cars. I had two 240Zs way back in the day. Um, I don't have anything against them, but they're not in my universe. You know what I'm saying? I like all different kinds of cars. I have an appreciation for pretty much anything. I geek out over a lot of stuff, but I'm not really familiar with the JDM market. Um, That's Rusty. KJ Kylie, I changed the oil in an old Duster, jacked it up. The jack stand stuck to the frame rails. That's that's Rusty. Uh, Mark Nunya, build a gasser, Tony, thinking it old DeSoto Hemi. I have a pseudo gasser. I've got slag hammer. I haven't done anything with it in a long time. Um, I do have an engine build for it, and I've got the parts like they're sitting in. You see, there's an engine with a tunnel ramp sitting by the front door of the shop. It's been there for a couple of months now. That's going to be for slag hammer, but it'll be a while before we get back to it. The top fueler came along. It kind of threw me off you know off path. Um, Tim Burns, we had plenty of Japanese steel back in the 70s. That way they all rusted out. They did rust quickly. Those were great cars. The 70s. Oh, I'm sorry, JDM thing. I'm saying the 70s, but your mid to late. I was just thinking about this yesterday because I saw one. And you don't see them anymore. Nissan Sentras. What was the generation? I think it was like 88 to like 90 something. It was like late 80s to early 90s. It was like this one specific generation of Nissan Sentra. It was over the top. It was indestructible. It hit everything like out of the park. It was easy to work on. They were bulletproof. They were cheap. They were simple. They were everything you could ever want in a car. And then they just kind of like lost their way with it, you know. But no, there's a lot of those the 70s and 80s Japanese cars that I really really like. And I worked on all of those things back in the day. Uh, more parquets in the house. Guess who understands timing? Yes, that's that's you're unlocking the keys to the universe. Okay. Uh, Jacob Bauman, I'm looking forward to the dragster build. I plan to build a slingshot, but run it on gas. That nitro thing is out of my price range. The slingshots are fun and they're beautiful. Uh, build it, man, build it. ES10. Hi, Tony. You're old. I'm old. We're all old. How do we get the younger crowd into hot rodding? I think drag and drive is attractive. What advice do you have? I see a lot of guys. I see a lot of young guys that are doing a lot of really cool stuff. We may not see it. Like a lot of these things are invisible to us because we see Chevelles and you know and stuff like that, right? You know, we see the classic cars, and we see 5 liters and whatnot. But there's a lot of kids out there that are very into this stuff. The drag and drive is one thing, but I think the biggest thing that's I see young crowds, all of these no prep events, and these backside events, you know, where they run the backside of the drag strip, they go to the end of the shut-off area and run towards the starting line, so that they have no traction. I see huge young crowds at these events, and this is the language that they talk these days. Drag and drive is good. Drag and drive is good, but it's also very expensive, and not everybody can spare a week out of their lives to just hit the road. Drag and drive is actually more of an older guys, you know, like an established. You know, I've got some money and I can take a week off of work, and my car's built out and reliable enough to do all of this. So you know, drag and drive is good, but I think the whole no prep thing. Uh, because even I was looking at, like, you look at some of these no prep events, right? Especially the back half events. I was even thinking about taking last year. I wanted to take Bottle Rocket, and I couldn't because we had family health issues that kept me close to the house. So I didn't get to any drag strips this year, just last year. But I had wanted to take Bottle Rocket to a couple of no prep events. Now, it's nowhere near as fast as the cars that win these things. But when you watch them in the early rounds, a car like Bottle Rocket actually could go a round or two because before the track comes in, before the thing actually starts to work and get some heat in it and get some rubber built over it, it's like any man's game. And a lower power car has a really good chance of going rounds. So I think that's the biggest appeal to something like the no prep movement. I think that's the future of drag racing. That's also the past of drag racing. Well, I mean, a bag of rice should come with every Japanese vehicle sold. Let me tell you something. My diet has become nearly all chicken and rice. Like so since Kathy had her condition came up and her diet had to change, my diet changed also, and I'm off of bread. Rare today, I had bread. Right, I had a hero sandwich, but I'm off of bread. My diet consists almost entirely of rice and chicken and Asian stuff. In fact, there's an Asian market down the street to the house over here. Kathy went and bought all sorts of stuff, different stir fry sauces and so on and so forth. And I'm really into it. So, yeah, I've become about the rice. And I can tell you, I feel good. I feel really good. Um, Graybeard Productions, do you do duct tape drags? I do. I get to very few events these days. I like almost none. Right? I hit the local tracks. We take some of our cars and go there. I don't have the time. A lot of these guys they have like support. You know what I mean? They have people that work with them. They have people that work for them. They have large families that take care of business while they're doing their thing. And I have none of those things. I'm we're on our own over here. So I can't just, 5 dogs and all this other stuff. I can't just up and take off for a week and do that sort of thing. It's just not in the cards these days. So no, I don't do any of those events. Mopar man. I feel you, Tony. I have Alpha Gal. I don't know what that is. Alpha Gal. And my mom has recently been diagnosed with the same stuff from that tick bite, so we had to change our diets as well. Well, the tick bite, like if it's Lyme disease, that mimics MS. It's a lot of the same things and a lot of the same dietary deals. Um, Grady Beer Productions, be cool to meet Tony. Trust me, you would be grossly disappointed. You would be like, "What the fuck was that?" Right? I'm serious. I'm really not much. You know what I mean? Like I'm on here and I talk a lot. I talk a lot on video. I'm always talking, and I come on lives and I'm talking and everything. But I will literally go like entire days without saying anything. I could be at the shop 10 hours by myself and I don't utter a sound. I'm pretty quiet. I pretty much keep to myself. Um, yeah, and like YouTube kind of did that to me. I was a little bit more outgoing before YouTube, and now I've become like a recluse. It's like I hide from people. Yeah, Jimmy Lucia, never meet your heroes. We will disappoint you. Sorry, alpha gal is no mammal meats or derivatives. Would cause an allergic reactions. I have to keep an EpiPen on me all the time. Yes. So my friend Missy, She has that. She had Lyme disease, and they thought it was MS, but it turned out to be Lyme disease. And yeah, she's got that. My other friend Linda, same thing. She can have chicken, but she can't have any type of red meat, or any type of pork, but she can eat chicken. Yeah, there's a lot of dietary situations out there. Um, G came in. There's a new tick bite disease that makes you allergic to meat. Yes, yeah, I'm telling you, the girl Linda that I know, that's what she has. Um, Dr. Wang, did you hear about the new Prelude only sold 174 units? Really? Not as bad as the Daytona. Nothing's as bad as the Daytona. Freaking disaster. I've done so many videos on that car. Like I won't go back and do any more. Like I feel like I'm kicking a dead puppy at this point. But no, how is it a Prelude only sold 174 units? Well, that's a car I never really liked. Um, I didn't get it. I like the first generation, second generation Civics were awesome, and then I got the Accord. Okay, I get it. The Accord, pretty cool. The Prelude is a car that I never got, and this is going way back. I mean, I know things have evolved greatly over the last 30 or 40 years, but yeah, the Civics were cool. The Accords were cool. The Prelude, yeah, I never got it. Uh, okay, Eric Swenson, you're back. Tony, I road tested with a different coil wire. It didn't make too much of a difference. Okay. 7, 8 psi fuel pressure, loading up and running rich. Yes. Okay, you got an Edelbrock on there? 6 psi max. 6 psi max. It'll withstand a spike to 7, but you won't run at 7. It'll definitely be pushing past the needle and seat. Mopar Sleeper, thank you for the super chat. E85 or Pump 91 on my 30 over 340 fresh build, 0 miles, but taken many, many years, 25 years to do. Wow, that's a long engine build. It has an Offie 2-piece high rise and 2 eddy carbs. Pump gas 91. E85, I'm not saying anything bad about E85, but I've always avoided E85 because it's not available everywhere. If you could just pull, so okay, if it's a race car, yeah, go ahead. E85 it all day long, right? If it's something that you're going to drive, cruise, you're going to take a trip with, so there's no guarantee you're going to come across E85, and especially quality E85 every place you go. E85 is one of those things. It can and will degrade if you've got a tank. Somebody was telling me about this recently, where they bought E85. They were out on a trip. They bought E85, and it ended up almost all water. They got stuck with this thing because E85 can degrade greatly. It's hygroscopic. Alcohol is hygroscopic, so it absorbs water out of the air. So when you've got that percentage of alcohol in it, it's more likely to absorb air. So if you buy a gas from a low volume, let's say, station, that stuff's been sitting around for a while. There's a good chance you get a tank full of water. I'm not a fan of it for those reasons. I would absolutely build a pump gas. Triple Helix. Hey, Tony. Hey, Triple Helix. Were the calipers you were having trouble finding parts for old Earharts? Yes. I have some parts that might work depending on which diameter you have. I don't know the diameter. Dr. Art is taking care of that. I have no idea, but if you could send Dr. Art a message over on his channel, I'm sure he'd be great. Good. I can't talk. He'll be happy to hear from you. Um, let's see. Hatchetone 100. What experience, if any, do you have working on Studebakers? I have a Roach 62 Lark wagon, and it's a joy to drive, nightmare to wrench on. You know who just built a really cool Studebaker? He put a Hemi in it, but Mopar Al. Mopar Al just built a 61 or a 62 Lark, and very cool car. Very cool car. He could probably answer you basic questions about, because he did this thing from bumper to bumper. Go over to Mopar Al. That's his channel, and send him a message there, because he has now a great deal of experience having just built exactly the car you're working with. So he'll have a lot more insight on that thing than I would. Um, Talk about Bill Gates. I'm just scrolling up here, guys. Um, oh, you're talking about it's a Mopar Sleeper. It's a weekend cruiser. The reason it took so long is my father passed. Oh, I'm sorry. And I inherited it with machining problems that needed fixed before I could run on the car. Okay. And Zero provides the Mopar Al link, which I guess he should call himself Studebaker Al now. And Rocco is saying that Tony Angelo at Stay Tuned has also been working on a Studebaker with an old engine. Okay. Broke Joker ATV. Any front-wheel drive cars you have dragged, built, or thought about building? Well, okay. I never actually pursued it. There was a time when it looked like 100% of everything was going to be front-wheel drive, and so I started thinking about front-wheel drive cars. So I drag tested several front-wheel drive cars when I was doing the magazines back in the 80s. One of the ideas that I had, okay, because I was going to build a front-wheel drive car. I wanted to build a high horsepower front-wheel drive car, and looking at what some of the import guys were doing at the time. Okay, so here's what happens. Okay, when you launch a front-wheel drive car, it transfers. This was a genius idea. I don't know if it actually will work, but this was my thought on this. Okay, when you launch a front-wheel drive car, it acts exactly the same as a rear-wheel drive car does, in that it transfers the weight back. Okay, so a front-wheel drive car will squat the rear on acceleration. It'll raise the front and squat the rear. All right. So my thought with this, because like I said, I had brainstormed out this whole front-wheel drive car thing. Oh, wait, I was going to do this on a front-wheel drive Daytona, a 5-speed V6 Daytona before Bottle Rocket. So I had made a deal to buy a Daytona. There was going to be a project car for this channel. And the guy, on the last minute, he backed out. I literally showed up there with the money. We had shook hands. We agreed on a price. I showed up there with the cash to go pick up the car, and he changed his mind. He didn't want to sell it to me. All right, so I wasn't going to fight with this guy. And then the next day, I ended up buying Bottle Rocket. But while I was brainstorming this thing out, here's what I came up with, okay? So front-wheel drive cars transfer weight exactly the same way rear-wheel drive cars do. My idea was to attach a link to the engine, okay? Attach a link to the engine and run that to a bell crank at the back of the car, okay? So you'd have a long tube, okay, a bell crank, right? And then use that to lift the back of the car. So when you applied torque, okay, and the engine came back, right? Because when you're accelerating the engine torques its way backwards, right? When the engine would torque back, that link would pull and it would pull on the bell crank, and the bell crank would push up on the rear suspension or on the rear body of the car to counteract. You see what I'm saying? Now, I thought about different ways, different ratios that could be, right? But I never actually got to see this idea through. But it is something I gave a lot of thought to use the engine's torque reaction to actually lift the back of the car instead of letting it squat. So, and of course, when it squats, it's transferring weight away from the drive wheels, so that kills your traction. So yes, I was very into that whole idea, but I never saw it through. Dean Stevenson, a link-operated jounce bar. Yes. I don't know what a jounce bar is, but this was just my thoughts on it. Operation Paperclip. Yes. Okay, so Mexican Spec is saying that he's going to go live tonight. He's going to go live later tonight, and we'll be showing quite a few cars. There are a lot of VW vans. So you guys, Mexican Spec. So usually I tell people to go over to Jamie's at Dead Dodge Garage because he does a live that overlaps hours. So he's still on for an hour after we get off. But also, it looks like Mexican Spec is also live after we get off. So there's another choice. You bounce between them. You can't stay in one live for too long. The average duration on one of these lives is like 20 minutes. And I get that because I go to lives and I'm like, I can't only hang out for a short time. So bounce around, right? Share the love. Go over to everybody's lives and give them thumbs up. Buffalo Campo and Kim do a live like every freaking night. So yeah, lots of people in our circuit doing lives. Okay, I'm just. Overbuilt owner of lengthwise mounted leaf spring on front-wheel drive drag car. No. How would that lift the back? You need to do something to counteract the weight transfer. So the weight transfer is back. It's pivoting on the front. The front axle is a pivot point, and it's squatting against the rear axle. But if you use the engine torque, which is the force that's causing it to dive to begin with, and then send a link with a bell crank so that as the torque pulls on the link, the bell crank pushes up on the back of the car, you counteract the dive, and you're greatly increasing the percentage of weight available to the front wheels to pull the car out. Scoop is on lives 42 hours a day. Joker, is Dr. Art every Monday night? Yes, Dr. Art's live every Monday night at 7 o'clock. Scoop, how's Veteran Biker? I subbed to that channel and I haven't seen any notifications or any lives from him in a while. Is he still doing it? Torino Elite. What was the most disappointing muscle car you ever driven? I was a kid. I was a kid. I was in high school, right? Or I had just gotten thrown out of high school, but still hanging around in high school, that sort of thing. And there was one kid that had a 454 Monte SS. It was a 71. This thing was brutal fast. It was brutal fast. And it was one of the fastest cars in the school. A friend of mine buys a Caprice with a 427, right? And I'll never forget this car. It was like a dark blue Chevy Caprice, and it had those 427 badges on the front fender, right? It was like a 67, I think it was a 67. Just like Ducky's car, but it was a two-door dark blue, and it had those 427 badges on it. And like I was, we would all drive each other's cars and stuff like that. And I remember getting that thing, and it's like, yeah, let's make smoke. And I'm thinking about that 454 Monte, and it just didn't go anywhere. It was just, it was like it didn't run any better than like a typical 327 of the day. That was probably that popped right in my head. First time I ever drove a Hemi car too, I think was pretty disappointing because the legend is so wee Hemi, and then you get in and it's like, wait a minute, that's all there is. That's all this thing is going to do. So the sound was far more impressive than the motion. Yeah. Scoop. Okay. Ben is on at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow Central Time. Well, I mean, if I'm up, I'll pop in there. If just tell him I said hi. Tell him I said hi. I haven't quite his lives in a few weeks or so. Because actually, I get up in the morning and right away I'm paying attention to the metals markets. So I've been watching a lot of International Stacker does lives in the morning. Wait, I have to check this. You guys have to deal with me for a second, okay? So I've been paying attention to that sort of thing in the mornings. At 8:42 Central Standard Time, we've got gold up $82.04 to $4,573.13. That's a gain of 1.83%. Silver is kissing close to another all-time high, $83.32. That's up $3.77 for a 4.74% gain on the session so far. Yes. Wow. Very cool. Joker, this is not financial advice report. It's not. I'm just reading from my phone. Yes, Buddy Carfano, 80 Trans Am with an Oldsmobile 403 was a total pig. I agree. Yes, I know. I'm just scrolling back up, guys. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking the funny car. It was a fuel altered. It wasn't a funny car. It was a double fuel altered. In the garage downstairs and scaring the kids at the Halloween party. I've told that story one too many times. Oh, I missed this. Thank you for the super chat, Ben. Been at Wilkerson's Funny Car Shop since Tuesday. Crew has moved around since my interview. Likely be doing bottom end. Come see us in 26. God bless. Oh, Ben, excellent. So you're going to be the diver? Very cool. Very cool. Dude, I was watching, oh, God. These old drag racing clips have been popping up like there's no tomorrow on my feed now, right? And I don't remember what it was. It was one of these compilations of drag racing video from the 70s, and they were showing people working on a car. It was a funny car, right? And they're showing people working on a car, and there's one guy laying under the thing, right? and he's tightening oil pan bolts, right, going around tightening up the oil pan bolts, and I had a flashback. I was him. I'm watching him do his thing, and there's people walking around him and stepping over him, because that's the way it is. You're laying on the ground, and everybody's got to go around you and over you, and there's always shit dripping in your eyes, there's oil in your eye, nitro in your eye, dirt blowing over your face. Just the most miserable job, but I was always the happiest in. I was like my happy place. And I'm watching this guy laying under the car, turning wrenches. Nobody ever shows the diver. At work. And I'm watching it, and I became him, and he was me. And I was there for a couple of minutes, and it was great. It was great. Good luck on your adventure, bro. Mopar K. I don't like getting in someone's ride for a ride and they don't fully send it. Send it on. Yes, Mopar K. Just send it. I know. I hate that too, right? People are like, come on, get in. I'll take you for a ride. We'll go for a ride. Like, all right, let's see what this bitch is going to do, And it's like they what the fuck? Come on. Send it. Scare me. I'm scrolling back up here. Thunderbird 1968. I just bought some Keith Black pistons, and there was a paper inside that said you can't use them in California other than a dedicated race car. I know. Did it also have the paper saying that it causes like cancer and possible reproductive harm? Do not take internally. Wheelie King, I like to get to know somebody a little bit before I sign up for Send It. Well, yeah, okay, that's kind of reasonable. You have to have an idea of who they are and what they do. Yes. Rocco saying, best ride I ever had was with my cousin who raced a max wedge from 68 to 72. I got to say my best ride was in John Friel's Superstock AA Dart. And I did a whole story on this in Mopar. It was Mopar, not Mopar Action. It was High Performance Mopar. I think I did it in Cars Illustrated too. But yeah, we were shooting a feature on John Friel's Hemi Dart. And he says, man, yeah, I'd love for you to, I just do a burnout. Let me get out of the car to do a burnout, right? So he says, oh, no, you ain't going to drive it, but, come on, I'll take you. So I was like, okay, great. So we went out, and I thought all he was going to do was a burnout. This was at Englishtown. So he does a burnout, and then he creeps up to the line. We didn't have a Christmas tree or anything there. He creeps up to the line, and I didn't know he was going to send it. And he looked over at me, and he hammered it, right? When he hammered it, we went for the sky, right? I had a death grip on the roll bar. I wasn't expecting that. But that was, and he drove it all the way through. Whatever that car would have run with my added weight in the thing is what it ran that thing. That was a very memorable occasion. And I wrote about that in High Performance Mopar magazine. Mopar K don't play. It's like what was that all about talking? You barely pressed the pedal. Yeah, I know. It's like a tease, Mopar K. Mopar, anybody's forever. Amen. 427 FE. Pregnant women shouldn't eat forged aluminum. Is cast aluminum okay? I don't know. See, I don't really pay too much attention to those things. Mopar casing. Tony, I watched how to do a bitch and burnout, and now I know how to do a bitch and burnout and not blow my transmission. No one tells you about going to second gear. See, even when I do stupid freaking videos like that, I still try to do something valuable in there. Uh, Hypereutectic is a no-no. Hypereutectic sounds like it could cause reproductive harm. Yeah, that sounds, yes. Uh, I'm just scrolling up. Uh, Oscar Gonzalez, how were engine tolerances achieved on early 20th century vehicles? Dude, they had far like those people in that era were far more tuned into like precision machining and hand fitting and everything than we are. They would look at what we have today and they would be like, how the hell do you achieve precision tolerances on those engines? No, yeah, they were very, those guys knew what they were doing. And they built a lot of stuff loose because of the situation, the kind of oils and the oiling systems that they had. A lot of those engines were oils like, by splash. But parts that were machined together, look at what they did with locomotives. Look, okay, so it's one thing, you're going to machine, internal car engine parts to clearances, right? Look at what they did with fucking steam locomotives in that era. The tolerances that had to be, for those damn things. Our early manufacturers and machinists and everything were far superior, far more sophisticated than we are. Speaking of which, I caught. I can't remember this kid's name now. I can't remember this kid's name now. I caught a video the other night, like 2 nights ago, right? It was one of those things. I ready to fall asleep, and I just flip it through one more time, and it's this kid. I think he's Canadian, and I say he's a kid. He's probably around 30 years old. Okay, and if anybody knows this channel, shout it out because I got to give this guy a shout out. Okay, he's restoring a steam locomotive. He's like single-handedly. Okay, it's a small one. It's a little 040. It's like a tank engine, like a switcher. Okay, but nevertheless, he's restoring, this steam locomotive, and he's doing all the machine work himself. He has like a blacksmith shop, machinist shop. Okay, this is a kid. And he's fabricating axle bearings, axle housings and shit like that. So all of the suspension pieces. He's fabricating these things from scratch, right? Just a most amazing thing. This kid like really reinforced my faith in humanity and like the next generation is coming up. Does anybody know the guy I'm talking about? I think his first name it's like Harley, but it's not Harley. It's Hardy. Oh God. Yes, that's it. Oscar Gonzalez, Ethan Hardy. Ethan Hardy. Right, guys. Seriously, right? You're not gonna get any high action out of this channel. Okay, there's no thrills and chills involved in this. Right, but listen to me. Go watch this guy's videos. Go watch this kid's videos. They're over the top. His capabilities, his knowledge, his just skill, the perseverance is just over the top. over the top, and he narrates the stories well. He Ethan Hardy, that's his name. Do yourself a favor and go check this guy's channel out. Tell him his uncle from Tennessee sent you. Yeah, absolutely. I was so impressed. I only watched 2 of his videos, but I do plan on going back and watching more of them. Yes, Zero just put up the link. Ethan Hardy link. Thank you, Zero. Is he similar to Jamie? No, he and Jamie have completely different personalities, but they're working in 2 completely different. They're working in two different universes. Jamie's a down to earth, hands on mechanic hot rodder, and this guy is like a throwback blacksmith, machinist. They're 2 different personalities, and each of their personalities suits the thing that they do. But similar, like they're similar age, and they're similarly very impressive people. I'm just scrolling back up here. Mo Parquet, another kid genius. Yes, it's so to me being an old guy. Okay, it is so. It means a lot to me when I come across these young guys that are just masters of their skill, of their trade. It makes me feel good. It's like, yes, there is hope for the future. There are young guys out there that are at or beyond even where I've ever gotten, and I've gotten pretty far in my life. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's awesome. Wow, we're coming up on 2 hours already. That was fast. Yeah, it's comforting when you see a younger person that is competent at their job. Yeah. Where does he live? There is room for a locomotive. I think he's in Canadistan. I think he's like maybe Nova Scotia. I could be wrong. He has a little bit of a Canadian accent. And there's a lot of land out there, man. It's like, you got a pretty big shop and a lot of land for short money. Mitten Made Muscle. Another good channel is Greg Kieran. He filmed some old school hot rodders in California who literally build their own engines from scratch. Dual and cam conversions. It's insane. That's what I'm going to get a look at. Oh, this guy. Yes, Pacific Redwood. How about Alan Milliard from the UK? That's another one. Okay. I almost can't watch him. Okay. He's that good. Where it's like I watch him and I look at these finished results of what he has. It's like, no, this is like, just no. It makes me feel like, I should be stocking shelves at Walmart, right? And even that might be too good for me compared to what somebody like Alan Milliard can do. Amazing, just amazing, guys. This guy Alan, he builds motorcycles, right? And very mild mannered, like low key kind of guy, right? He takes motorcycle engines and cuts them apart with hacks. I mean, quite literally, cuts these things apart with hacksaws and then sections them and makes like V6s, V8s. He likes the Kawasaki two strokes of like 6-cylinder inline 2-stroke. Just over the top work, over the top fabrication. Just amazing what some people can do. Gold Wrenching has a great channel and is funny. He also does a lot of YouTube shorts. I've never heard of him. Interesting. You know, I would love to do a video, maybe like looking at some of these guys. I should do it, and I shouldn't do it. It's like on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, that would be really cool. Let's do a video highlighting like 10 really great channels by young guys, young people. Don't have to be guys. There's plenty of girls out there that are into this stuff too. Like showcase 10 young up and coming mechanical YouTubers. But and the thing that stops me is that like I know I'm going to leave people out. You know what I mean? And it's like I have to think about this. But I young people that do these things, that are carrying the mechanical torch into the future, they need all the support and all of the eyes and all of the input, valuable input that they can get. They've really got their work cut out for them today. Zero classic Mopar. When you know us. Yes. Well, Parquet is saying absolutely 1000% true. It's not easy. I know. That's why I try to give all my support. That's why I try to support as much as I can. All right. So, guys, I am going to wrap it up. Fubar just put up a link to my merch. Thank you so much, Fubar. So if you guys want shirts, hats, and anything else that may or may not be in the store, follow that link. Thank you so much, Fubar. And our other mods, thank you, Fubar. Thank you, Mexican Spec. Thank you, Zero. The greatest mods in the history of electronics. Like since the first strike of lightning, these guys have taken moderation to the next level. Thank you so much, guys. Everybody who contributed Super Chat, thank you so much. It's never expected, but always appreciated. And everybody who contributed with your presence and your conversation, thank you equally. It wouldn't hurt if you hit the like button on the way out. Thank you. It helps the channel. And that's it. I have other things I'm going to do this week, but I don't know what they are. And So Mexican Spec has a live after this one. Also, Jamie at Dead Dodge Garage is also live over there, so you guys can bounce around and keep the party going. And that's it. I'm going to hit this end stream button right there. I got to hit it twice. So it's the first time I hit it, and then I hit it again, and I say good night. Thank you.